boy from a small town, a boy with big dreams but empty pockets. He lived a simple life filled with hard work and hope. He wasn't rich, nor did he wear fancy clothes or drive an expensive car. But he had something rare, a heart full of love and honesty. And in that heart, there was only one name, Alina. She was beautiful, confident, and the kind of girl who made the whole world light up when she smiled. Ben loved her with everything he had. For him, she wasn't just a girl. She was his reason to wake up every morning. They spent countless evenings walking together on narrow streets under dim yellow lights, dreaming about their future. Ben often told her that one day he would build a good life, one where they could live peacefully together, away from all worries. Alina used to smile and hold his hand, saying she believed in him. But dreams are fragile, and sometimes people are weaker than their words. Slowly, Alina began to change. Her texts became shorter, her calls less frequent. The warmth in her voice turned into cold politeness. Ben noticed it, but he ignored it, thinking maybe she was just busy, until one day he saw her sitting in a cafe with another man. A man in a designer suit, laughing with confidence, his car shining outside like a diamond. Ben froze. When he asked her about it later, she didn't deny it. She looked at him with tired eyes and said, "Ben, you're a good person, but love doesn't pay bills. I can't live on promises forever." Those words hit him like a storm. He tried to speak, but no words came out. She continued, "You deserve someone who can live your kind of life, but I need more. I can't be with someone who's always struggling." And with that, she walked away, leaving him standing in silence, broken, staring at the pieces of his own heart scattered on the floor. Days passed, but time seemed meaningless. Ben stopped smiling, stopped caring. He would lie awake at night staring at the ceiling, replaying her words again and again. Every corner of his town reminded him of her. The park bench where they sat, the small cafe they visited, even the rain reminded him of her laughter. He began to question himself. Was he not good enough? Was love really that weak? His heart said he still loved her, but his mind whispered that she chose money over love. Slowly, sadness turned into anger, and anger turned into determination. One night, while sitting alone in his tiny room, he looked at himself in the mirror. Tired eyes, unshaved face, and a broken expression. For the first time, he spoke to himself out loud. "She left because I was poor. Fine. I'll make sure no one ever looks down on me again." That single sentence became the spark that lit the fire inside him. From that day onward, Ben changed completely. He stopped wasting time crying and started working. He worked during the day and studied at night. He took every small job he could find, from delivering food to fixing electronics. People mocked him, called him a dreamer, said he'd never make it big, but he didn't care anymore. His pain had turned into his power. Every time he felt tired, he remembered Alina's words. Love doesn't pay bills. Those words, once a wound, became his motivation. He started learning about business, money, and success. He began reading books, watching tutorials, and saving every penny. He failed many times. Sometimes he lost hope, sometimes he broke down, but he always stood up again. Because deep down, he knew one thing. He wasn't just working for success, he was working for his redemption. Years went by. The same boy who once couldn't afford a coffee for his girlfriend now owned his own company. It wasn't easy. Sleepless nights, endless rejections, and silent tears behind closed doors, but he made it. Slowly, success began to follow him. His hard work turned into results, his pain into progress. People who once laughed at him now spoke his name with respect. The boy who was left for being poor became the man everyone wanted to work with. Ben had transformed his heartbreak into a legacy. And though he had everything now, money, fame, respect, there was still one corner of his heart that remembered that rainy evening when Alina walked away. One day, Ben was invited to a business conference at a luxury hotel. He arrived in a black suit, confident, calm, and composed. Cameras flashed, people greeted him with admiration. He had become a symbol of success, but destiny, it seems, loves full circles. Among the crowd, he saw a familiar face. Alina. She was standing a few steps away, looking elegant but not as bright as she used to be. She looked at him with disbelief, her eyes searching his face as if to confirm it was really him. He walked past her, politely nodding, but she couldn't resist. She followed him quietly and finally said, "Ben, is that really you?" He turned and smiled. "Yes, Alina, it's me." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence between them was louder than any words. Finally, she said softly, "You've changed. You've become someone else." Ben smiled gently. "No, Alina. I just became the person you didn't believe I could be." Her eyes lowered with regret. She told him how her relationship with that rich man ended badly. Money faded, and so did happiness. She said she often thought about him, about the love he gave her, about the dreams they once shared. "Maybe I made a mistake," she whispered. Ben looked at her with calm eyes. There was no anger left, only peace. He replied, "No, you made a choice. And so did I. You chose comfort, I chose struggle. But it's the struggle that made me who I am today." Alina's eyes filled with tears. "Do you still hate me?" she asked. He shook his head. "I don't hate you, Alina. In fact, I thank you, because if you hadn't left, I would have never found myself. Sometimes people hurt you not to break you, but to wake you up." He smiled one last time and walked away, leaving behind not just Alina, but the boy who once begged for her love. As he stepped out of the hall, a cool wind brushed his face. For the first time, he felt truly free. Free from pain, from anger, from the past. He realized that revenge wasn't about hurting someone back. Real revenge was becoming everything they said you couldn't be. And that's what he had done. His success was his revenge, and his peace was his victory. From that day on, Ben continued to grow. He began helping others who came from nothing. Young boys who had dreams but no support. Girls who had been told they weren't good enough. He built a foundation to support them because he understood their pain. He became not just a businessman, but an inspiration. People started calling him the man who turned pain into power. And deep inside, he smiled knowing that every scar, every tear, every lonely night had been worth it. Now, whenever Ben looked back, he didn't see Alina leaving. He saw the moment his real journey began. The day she walked away was the day he started walking toward greatness. He no longer needed to prove anything to anyone. The world had already seen what pain, discipline, and belief could create. And when people asked him what kept him going through the darkest times, he always said, "One broken heart and a decision to never stay broken." Because sometimes the most painful endings are really just beautiful beginnings. And sometimes losing someone you love is exactly what you need to find the person you're meant to become. So, to anyone who's been left behind, betrayed, or underestimated, remember Ben's story. Remember that the world will try to break you, people will doubt you, and life will push you down. But you must rise. You must fight back. Don't chase revenge with anger. Chase it with success. Let your silence speak through your achievements. Let your growth be your answer. Because in the end, the sweetest revenge isn't proving them wrong, and it's proving yourself right.